Good morning. Great songs. So, when the will wanes, the spirit soars. We'll go through this today. Maybe we'll retitle it afterwards. We'll see where it goes. So, will. I was trying to work with this, like, okay, what's will, right? So I go on to Google, I type it in, I try to find a definition of will. So it gives me like the conjunctive word, like I will do or whatever. So then I type in man's will, and it takes me to the esoteric Christian thoughts of man's will. So I'm like, man, I can't find it, so let me just think about this and connect and try to define will metaphysically. And so this is just me speaking, so hopefully it connects. Will. It is a construct of thoughts and beliefs that we channel our force through. So, our will are our thoughts and our beliefs, and we use that to channel our force through it to accomplish. Right? Sounds innocent, sounds nice. Yeah. So, think about there's God's will, same aspect. It's thoughts of God, beliefs, the energy of God. That force is channeled through so that God can accomplish, right? In the sense of God's will, the path, the divinity, the trying to put things in our way in order to wake us up, right? So our will, if it is the construct of thoughts and beliefs that we channel our force through, it is something that is a tool, that is inherently good, but we tend to kind of beat ourselves down for it when we talk about it, correct? You guys with me? Am I the only one? Oh, yeah. Okay. So we'll move through that today. So the first thing I want to say is we say this a lot. You're stuck in your will, right? So you're stuck in your will. That's your my way or the highway moment. That's you bury your heels in the ground. You say, we're going to do it my way. It's going to do this. It's going to do this. It's going to do this. When we are stuck in our will, we are... And hear me out. We are basing the base foundation of that action in fear and judgment. When we are stuck in our will, we are afraid of an unknown outcome. Because when it's my way or the highway, what do we already know? We already know the outcome because we've done it before. So we're going to do this way. We're going to do this way because I know the outcome. And so if we get in that, and that's why I think by the end of this, we'll kind of detach some of the negativity or the judgmental thoughts we have of our will. Or it's our will, it's not God's will, it ain't good enough. Because I don't want to do that at the end, right? So when we get stuck, we get fearful. If I say it's my way or the highway, all I'm saying is I'm scared. I'm scared of an unknown path, and I'm scared of an unknown outcome. And it can be as simple as folding towels, washing dishes. You don't do it the way I do it, therefore I'm never going to let you do it because I need the outcome to be the same, right? So it's simple, right? But can you see where maybe if you take that a level up, I need the outcome to be the same, I need the outcome to be the same, I need the outcome to be the same. That causes repetition. It causes cycles. It causes patterns. So when we get stuck in our will, we ultimately create patterns. So if you got any patterns out there, please kind of recheck them out and see maybe necessarily, and it may be good, it may be bad. I'm not saying they're all bad, right? But if they don't serve us, look at it and say, am I doing it the way I've always done it because I want the same outcome? And then why do I do that, right? So if we're taking will and we're stuck in our will and it's my way or the highway, we're taking past experiences that should be well served behind us, and we're bringing them back up and we're recreating past outcomes. Does that allow for growth? No. Does that allow for growth? Like imagine if we were 2 years old and we did the same thing for 50 years. And we never changed our perspective to allow a different outcome, we'd be I wouldn't be standing here. I'd be running around throwing chairs over. Because that's the outcome I wanted. You know what I'm saying? So we can look at our will the same way. So when we get stuck in it, we create patterns and we create the same thing over and over again. That's my point here. So there's a difference between our will, which is, I think of it like a tube, right? What's my tube filled with? Is it filled with compassion and love, or is it filled with hammers, sledgehammers, and fear and judgment? And then I'm channeling my energy through that. How am I channeling my force through my will? Is it going to be smash and grab at the end of it? Is it going to be, I don't care who I got to push over to get in my way, or is it going to be encompassing and more aligned with God's will, which is going to be encompassing, which is going to be love, love-based, right? You guys good with stuck in your will? Yeah. Anybody stuck out there? And guys, I'm here to say, I'm stuck in certain aspects of my life, and certain aspects of my life I'm not. And you hear me say it every time I come up here. We individualize our experiences and our growth, and we can be like this throughout the graph of our self, right? With different situations and different things. But as long as we can come to that baseline of God is my Father, I am the child of God, we can work through it all. That was a tangent. Let me give you a little example. So I have a little daughter at home. You guys all know her. So it just hit me the other day. She wants milk, right? And 2-year-olds can be very stubborn and stuck in will, right? She wants milk. She wants milk. She wants milk. She's never had lemonade, right? So I've come to the point where I'm willing to give her, because it's got a lot of sugar and sweet stuff in it, I'm willing to give her some, and I got some lemonade. And I'm like, hey, I got some lemonade for you. But her will only wants milk. So she doesn't experience lemonade because I give up trying to give it to her. And she goes, well, I only want milk, I only want milk. How often are we screaming for milk and God's going, I got lemonade over here? Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But all we know is milk, so and this is where I say it's based in fear. It's not overt fear, but it is subtle. We want milk, and we're afraid if we don't get milk, we're not going to know what to do. We don't know if we're going to like lemonade, so we're not even going to give it an option. That fear of that holds us stuck. All right? I think I've beaten it. Let's move on, right? So here's another one. Another concept we talk about a lot in Interquest, a lot in Christianity, a lot. God's will be done. You guys ever heard that before? God's will be done. It wasn't too long ago, I was saying a prayer. I had some stuff. I was just trying to allow things to move smoothly at work and stuff. So I say, God, your will be done. I hope everything works out. And as I'm saying it, I'm in the middle of a prayer, meditation, saying it, and I get a tinge of fear. God's will, your be done, as long as no one dies. As long as I don't lose. And definitely, I'm not asking for God's will in football season. Because God's will may allow the other team to win. And that's just something I'm trying, guys. You got to cut me some slack. I'm trying to get through that, and I'm serious. It's a joke. It's funny. Ha ha ha. It's real for me. Saturdays in the fall are tough for me to really see the light of everybody, right? So, and it is a practice, I get. And it's so small, and it's so simple, and it's so seemingly meaningless. But for my will and for my spiritual growth, it's not. Because it is such a personal thing to me, and I'm wrapped up in it. I got all these emotions run in it. So if I can even catch myself and click that off in the third quarter, not in the fourth, but in the third quarter, allow God's will to maybe flow for a couple series. But all joking aside, I'm serious. Anybody else with me? When we pray for God's will, we know we're supposed to do it, but we still have that hook. God's will, but man, I really would love it my way too. You know? And the thing is, that idea, that thought that we have based on God's will is something different than I want and something different than I know, that tinge of fear from the different outcome or the different path that is unknown, is hard for us. It's hard for us. We're taught as humans, as Americans, like we know a way to do something, we do it that way. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know you can get it done, you know you can get it done, you know you can get it done. And there's countless of us that will change something or allow for an unknown outcome and have a completely different life than they had 10 years ago. And have this, right? But we still look at them and go, I wish I could. Because we still are hooked on that, I want it my way. So what this does, and I might be wrong, but what I see and what I have seen is that it ultimately divides my will and God's will. It divides them into two things that have to be separate and that we have to choose. And I may be wrong, and I hope I am, but I have that sometimes too. If it's my will and it's not God's will, I have to choose. So what it does is it creates situations where, and it's not a specific example, but it's just an example, like maybe you're struggling with your will in one area, so you stop going to church because you just don't want to hear God's will, right? You disconnect from that place where you're spiritually fed because you're in your will. And vice versa. Sometimes you lose your will temporarily and get overcome with God's will, or you lose yourself and give yourself up to a group ultimately with all control because you think it's God's will. Do you guys know, you've seen these examples? You go one way or the other. And that's not what we're meant to do. We're meant to raise our spirit and raise ourselves by raising our tools. We have a tool. It's will. If we can develop our will to align with God's will, to get closer to the alignment of God's will, we don't need to choose between God's will and our will to function. We don't need to say, well, God's got this one, so mine's no longer valuable. Do you hear me? And maybe I'm the only one that does it, but if we can get away from that separation, that division, because ultimately we're trying to work on a tool that was divinely given because we are divine, and we're separating ourselves from God by saying, which one do I go with now? Whereas if we think about what will is, it's a construct of our thoughts and beliefs where we exercise our power through. Can we not change that? We don't have to lose it. We don't want to lose it. We need the vessel to bring our force to the world. Let's change it. Let's maybe take that sledgehammer out. Let's maybe take the fire out of it and put a heart in there. You know what I'm saying? And so we don't have to choose, and I don't want to delete one to gain another. It's not that. Good?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Don't delete your will. Don't turn your light off. Develop your will to lift to a level where it can resonate with God's will. I want to read something from the Aquarian. This is pretty short. It just encapsulates the need for us to develop our will. This is chapter 59. This is sages are going. And Apollo wrote the 5th. The soul is drawn to perfect light by 4 white steeds. And these are will, faith, helpfulness, and love. That which one wills to do, he has the power to do. And knowledge of that power is faith. And when faith moves, the soul begins its flight. So will has to be one of the steeds. Will has to be one of those things that we use to create in this world. Don't delete your will. Develop it. Lift your will up so that your will can resonate at the same as God's will. It's not a choice between the two. It's a choice for you. It's a choice for you to make. Do you want to develop your will in order to resonate? Good? So this is where I get a little squirrely. Maybe it's just me again, I'm going to go out on a limb here, but I think as a whole we have this idea of growth as this straight line of time. Where we're born, we walk forward along a straight line of time, and we die. For me, it's you come in the door and you drop out the backside. And you've walked the whole time. And then we tally up all the points along that line where we did something good, right? Or we tally up all the points along that line where we did something bad. Well, along with this will, it's the same. It's, okay, I would listen to God at one time, I didn't this time, I didn't this time. I think I would, for me, and maybe it's just for me, I really think we should look at our growth not as a straight line of forward, but a staircase of up. It's called grow up, not grow forward. So as we do that, you can see we can lift our will in order to reach the heights to resonate with God's will, right? We can lift our will. We can walk the staircase of life up instead of just walking from 1 to 100 and figuring out what we did along the way. And then that's where you hear in metaphysics the plateau. We've been climbing and then we get stuck. And we stay plateaued for as long as we need, and then something happens to kind of get us out of there. But if we're always trying to focus on climbing, we won't plateau. We won't need that cosmic 2x4. We won't need the dramatic event to wake us up. Because God wants us to climb. It's lifting vibration, not living months and years. Think about this, too. I had this morning. We teach our kids, grow up, grow up, grow up, grow up. First grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. We get to the end, they get from college, grow forward. Get a job, keep that job, have kids. How many people have you heard the 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old say, God, I thought there was more to life than this? There is. We've just said grow forward now. Let's keep growing up. And will is a part of that. So, how do we grow up? How do we lift our will? It's easy, conceptually. It's easy conceptually. So lift. Let's look at lift. So L, love. Foundation of love. If will is the construct of our thoughts and beliefs, love has to be our foundation. Love creates compassion. Love creates understanding. Love, if you guys take Metaphysics 3 coming up, you'll learn that the law of love transmutes everything, especially fear. Love is the antithesis of fear, the polarity of fear, right? So those things that keep us stuck can be transmuted if we can get our foundation of love going. And that is the part that is ultra personal for you. I cannot tell you how to do that. I can tell you to connect with God, prayer, meditation, singing songs, however you want to do that. I can tell you to do that. And I can tell you to watch your thoughts, watch your words, watch your actions. Not in a punishment way, but is that loving? Am I being understanding? Am I being compassionate? You know? Just because you give a homeless man $50 doesn't mean you're being loving and compassionate. You could be pitiful, sorrowful, fearful that he may not eat. Do you hear me? So love is a foundation. If we can change that, we can allow for paths. Love creates understanding, creates compassion, creates openness to different paths and different outcomes. Because we're not attached to how it's going to look, because we're going to love it. Right? Intuition. Intuition. You hear it. I know all you guys hear it. Listen. Just listen next time. You know the difference between hearing and listening? I know you hear me, but are you listening? God, I sound like a parent. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Intuition. What would you have me do? All right, God, what's your will? What's your will here? What's your will? And with that love foundation, I'm not going to fear if it's a different outcome. Intuition is a muscle. Intuition's a muscle. You have to listen. If you don't listen, it closes. It atrophies. You see people that are so inspired and get guidance from God, and you wonder why, how, man, that's so cool. All they did was exercise. They listened, and then they put some action to it. So listen, the next one is F, follow through. That's the key to listening. You can listen all day long. If you don't put action with it, you're stopping at listen. Right? You can listen all day long. If you don't put action to it, it's not giving you the experience of the unknown outcome. And just like our scripture said, that will of God and that unknown outcomes builds faith. If you don't ever get to the unknown outcome, you'll never have faith that that unknown is okay to do it again. You hear? So when you get to intuition, follow through, action. I don't care what it is. I need to paint. Go paint. Right? You guys, so I'll just be real honest with you. Seriously. You don't think my will is screaming when I stand up here and speak, going, what does this mean? What are they going to think of me? What does this mean for my life going forward? All of that is going on. But I say, all right, I'll take the couple steps up. I don't know what's going to happen. And it's unknown outcome. And I'm going to love it. You know? Do you know what I'm saying? But it is something that I leave here on Wednesday, and it's all these things, all these doubts, all these fears, all these willful things. I know how my life has been going. I know what I can do to do this. I know what I can do to do this. I know what I can do to do this. What does this other thing mean? I don't know what it does. But I'm listening, and I'm at least taking this action, right? Action, action, action. Action hooks. Action allows us to build the faith that the unknown outcome is going to be okay. So that we can do it more than once. And then all of this leads to transformation. Your will. You change your thoughts and beliefs. You change your foundation to love. You listen and you follow through. And you will transform. You will transform your will. You'll take a step up the staircase. You'll take a step up the staircase. And the more we go up, the more our will can in tune with God's will. And it doesn't create separation. It creates synergy with God. Therefore, our creations are running through a tube of love. Our creations are running through understanding. Our creations are running through brotherhood and harmony. And at the end of the day, we may all come to God for different reasons. But we're not born to this world singularly. We're not a pineapple in a vast world of no other humans. You know what I'm saying? We're here to understand how to work with each other in harmony and brotherhood. And once our wills can resonate that, our creations will resonate that. And then my way or the highway will be your way or the highway. They'll all be okay, right? We won't be stuck. We'll be flowing back and forth. Boom, boom, boom. And I know you guys have all been in creative situations where the vibe has been that, hey, we got this to accomplish. Let's all boom. Nobody's getting each other's space. Everybody's allowing others to create, and you're bouncing ideas off back and forth. And I know you've been in creative situations where you got to do it somebody's way. Now, how do you want to live? How do you want to be do you want to be the person in the room that's stuck? Transformation. Bonnie's laughing. So, will. It's a tool. It's good. We need it. We need one of our four steeds, right? The construct of thoughts and beliefs that we run our force through. We don't have to separate. Our will, God's will, ultimately if you went down the rabbit hole far enough, you probably see no separation at all. But for us today, we don't need to choose between. And choosing between separates the two. Okay, yep, we saw here, maybe we got stuck in our will. Guess what? Next time I'm going to do better. Next time I'm going to do better. Next time I'm going to do better. How am I going to do better? Number one, I'm going to forgive this time I did it. Because compassion needs to happen inwardly too. I'm going to listen next time. And then when I get that guidance to do that weird, goofy thing, just do it. Do it with no expectations of the outcome. And then you'll gain faith that'll allow you to what? Do it again. Do it again. You need the faith to do it again. So, God's will. So we maybe retitle it to maybe not to when the will wanes, the Spirit soars. Maybe when the will develops, the Spirit soars. When the will matures, the Spirit soars. And it's up to us to do that. So that's all I got for you. So we'll center in, we'll lock it in, and do a little meditation real quick. So just close your eyes, put your feet on the floor, and take a deep breath. Now we'll take another deep breath. When you take it in, I want you to feel God's love fill in you. Fill in your lungs, fill in your heart, fill in your chest. Allow God's love to fill you in every part of your body. I want you to take that love, follow that love all the way up to your eyes. Now I want you to envision a staircase, however it needs to look for you. And on that staircase, we are going to take 2 steps up. Just take 2 steps up, and then we're going to ask God, truly, honestly, allow me to see my staircase and allow me to see my will. Then envision that in, however it looks. We honestly look at our staircase. Then we ask God, show me, am I stuck? Am I stuck somewhere? It may come as a little dark spot on your staircase, maybe you got flowers on your staircase and one's droopy. Just look honestly. Maybe you have none. Where am I stuck, God? And if you see one, I want you to direct your attention to that. We're not even going to ask what it is or why. Take that love, that God energy that you absorbed at the beginning, and I want you to channel it through your heart into that spot on your staircase. Just transmuting it, softening it, whatever it may look like. And God, we stand on this step today, willing and able to lift our will so that we can resonate. We look forward to the experiences that brings, and we look forward to the love we can give ourselves to change the foundation of this staircase. Thank you for this opportunity. Now I want you to just be on that step for a minute, take it in. Hopefully your spot is transmuted, transformed. If it's not, that's okay. Just breathe it in. God, we're grateful for this experience. We're grateful for the experiences we'll have before. So it is. So you feel yourself back. Get comfortable. Open your eyes. So, you guys willing? Yes. That's all it takes. Thank you.
Thank you.